Do you want more? More time, more balance, more love, more sex, more money, more real, and less bullshit? This is the Women Wanting More podcast with Dr. Karen Osborne. Real life, real stories, plus real tips to get you more of what you want.
So yesterday was the first day of school for my oldest son, Tyson. We started grade 3, just a half day. And so at lunchtime, we came to pick him up. We, meaning myself and my youngest, Kai, who's just turned 5. He actually starts kindergarten, but he just has a couple half days until he starts full-time next week. But so we get there and pick up Tyson. He's like, "Mommy, can I play in the playground?" I'm like, "Sure, buddy." They both wanted to play, so we're hanging out and playing. Suddenly, we're seeing all the families that stuck around to play in the playground and the kids going into school. We're like, "What's going on?" People are saying, "You got to come inside." They didn't call it a lockdown. They called it a hold and release. Can't be hold and release. That's like a fishing thing. Some type of a hold, like a hold. In other words, there's something dangerous that's happening. We need to all come to the school. The local police has said we need to go into the school. So come on to the school. And we're like, okay. And everyone's kind of coming in calmly and stuff. And, of course, right? Of course, I think of the shooting stuff. Now, in Canada, that hasn't really happened much. But it's still something there. And the craziest piece of this, too, is, Tyson, because they teach them now in the schools, right? Because I'm sure this happens if your kids are in school. Like, they teach them about these safety things of, like, what you do and, like, if something was to happen, like, what you need to do, right? The teachers know what to do, all of this. You have to be prepared of this. It's an uncomfortable thing to even speak of, shootings in our children's schools. It's heartbreaking to know what has happened to countless lives of children and their families. But the reality is that it's happening. And so, we have to prepare, have to be aware of it. And so Tyson, as I'm driving him to school for the first day yesterday, he's like, "Mommy, what if somebody came into school and they impersonated a teacher?" Like, I know he's kind of getting at the thing how school can maybe not be safe, and it's hard as a parent, right? Because my son's barely 8. I don't want to place fear in his heart. I don't want him to be afraid of going to school each day, but at the same standpoint, I gotta teach the reality of what's happening in our world. Even with Tyson, he likes to do Nerf guns and stuff and fire people in the park, and I just said, "Son, you need to know that guns are something that are part of our culture now in North America, where there's people getting shot in places like schools and churches and parks and where they work." And so there's a lot of people that feel very uncomfortable, even if it's a play gun, just to have the conversation with him about this, right? And so we go in the school, and they're like, "I think it's because there's a cougar in the." I've heard reports that there's a cougar in the area and stuff. And we're like, okay. Victoria, this is a city of probably about, I think, maybe 70,000 people. It's now time where all the university students, University of Victoria, is back. It's September. So the population kind of swells because it's a really big university. And it's just a lot of green space. So we have deer all throughout Victoria. It's beautiful. We get bunnies in our backyards. Even though we're in a city, there's a lot of wildlife that are kind of just part of it, right? So I'm like, I never heard of a cougar around, but okay. And so we go in the school and we had to go back. There wasn't all the kids, right? Because a lot of them had already left, but we were hanging around for maybe 15 minutes, and then we got the call and we had to all go in. I'm like, oh, okay, this is kind of scary, but no one's acting like it's any big deal. And I'm sure all the teachers they need to stay calm, and everybody's just kind of chill about it. And then afterwards they go, "Okay, the Saanich police said it's okay for us to go now. You can all go home. Thank you so much for, coming in so, organized, and everybody's calm, and, have a great afternoon. We'll see you tomorrow." And we'll send an email to all the parents. Now, they sent us an email, but there was nothing in the email. But then there was a news story about it today. And so what happened is there was a woman in the neighborhood that called the police and reported seeing a man with a gun walking around, not in the school, but close to the school, right? So, of course, they can't take any, risks. They have to be careful about these things, and I'm sure have protocols. And so they call into the local schools, and it's no, whoever's outside right now, bring him in. It's you got to keep him in the school. So now they said in this story that they never found this man with a gun. Who knows if it's actually what it was? Maybe she thought it was something else. I mean, I don't really know. I don't know. But, you know, it certainly, it scares me. You know, it scares me. It scares me to know that this is the reality of schools sometimes, you know? I mean, Jesus. The worst thing that I had to deal with as a kid, I remember being in junior high school, and there was like a flasher outside, some, you know, disgusting man in a trench coat sitting there with his trench coat open and his penis is hanging out of his pants. And, you know, as a 12, 13-year-old girl being like, that's disgusting. Like, that's it. And maybe seeing this guy like twice, right? Like, that was really the extent of not feeling safe in school for me. And even then, that was outside of school grounds. But it makes me really think, you know, it makes me certainly have conversations with God saying, please, you know, have angels around this school and protect these children and keep them safe. But it also allows me to, you know, to really understand that there's a lot of shit that's going to happen in life we have zero control over. Like, we have zero control over. I can't. I mean, this could happen again, right? God forbid there would actually be somebody that came into the school and hurt or tried to hurt any of the teachers or the children or any of the families inside the school. Like, that would be fucking horrible. But I cannot control the actions of others. I can't control the words of others. I can't control what's happening with weather systems. I can't control world events. I can't control any of these things. And it comes back to the central thing, which is something I try to teach my children, is the only thing that we ever have control over is how we respond to situations. And it doesn't even have to be something as catastrophic as a school shooting or, you know, again, some crazy weather thing that's happened or someone nasty or crazy thing is happening in politics in our world. Could be something as simple as somebody says something mean to us. Somebody cuts us off in traffic. You feel judged by another mom, or, you know, a friend kind of says something that's almost like shameful towards you. And you can choose how you react to all these things. So, I'll give you an example this morning with Tyson. Now, this was actually the first full day back at school. And so everything was cool and organized and lots of good stuff going on. And then he's having meltdowns, you know. Tyson has a hard time with change. Things get really blown up. It can be very easy for me to react and just be like, dude, like, just chill. And no, I didn't say that. No, I didn't, you know. But I also know, like, Tyson is dyslexic, and so his brain interprets things a little bit of a different way. And so it's easy for me to judge. It's easy for me to be like, well, what do you mean? Why'd you have to tell me a million times? No, dude, I actually said it to you twice. Like, you're overreacting. I can't go there with him, right? The only thing I can control is my response to it. And I've gone there with him, and the outcome was not good. The outcome did not go well with that. But if I'm calm, if I'm like, okay, listen, like, the only thing I can control is my response to it. I don't have to get hurt by the stuff that he's saying. I don't have to. It's my choice to react. I'm the fucking adult here. And he's 7.5. And he's trying to interpret the world in a brain that, you know, about 20% of the population has, and it doesn't really roll with school all that well, traditional school. I mean, there might be a point, we'll see, if things are challenging for him enough that it's like he's just not coping or it's not working, like, we'll find a way. We'll find another way. Find a different school. I've talked to people about this already. And even if I had to, I would homeschool. I'd, like, in a heartbeat, to do what's really best for my son, or for both my boys, for my children. But we can only control our response to situations. That is it. That is it. And here's the other thing. That is it. And you know what, though, too, sister? That is everything. That is huge. To be able to have control. I don't mean you hold back, you squash feelings. I don't mean that. I just mean that, like, you take a breath and logically just step back. Just coming back to Tyson, like, I've acknowledged him. And I notice in his interactions with his little brother, whose little brother can be little shit to him these days and kind of, like, put him in trouble. And Tyson's feeling like he's always the one who's blamed. And that's true sometimes, and sometimes falsely. Even at school, he'll get picked on and he'll wait. And then finally when he responds, well, then the kids, tattle on him, or the other kid says, Tyson hurt me, but really you didn't see the leading up to and all the calm that he had to that. You just saw the end point, right, which is his reaction to it. But what I've noticed with him is when his little brother starts to bother him, that he'll be like, he'll speak to him calmly, he'll ask him, sometimes he'll be like take a breath, he'll maybe even like physically step back from him. And so today, I as we're walking into his classroom, I really acknowledged him. I said, Tyson, those times when I've seen you with your brother where you're kind of frustrated and getting upset, I just really want to acknowledge you, buddy, because you chose to stay calm. You chose to take a breath. So just know that same way that you interact with Kai at times, if you were feeling frustrated with somebody at school or angry or like they don't hear you, you get to choose to respond that way every single time. And it won't be easy, but you can choose it, son. And I believe in you, and I know that you can do this. And so you hear these words for you too, sister. You empower yourself, or use my words if it's going to help you to be some kind of a catalyst or somehow start to see things differently of like, you know what, you can choose to see things the way that you see things. You don't have to be reactive like the majority of the world. You don't have to be overly dramatic or create all these fucking stories about what you think all this stuff means. Your stories are your stories are your stories, and for most of the time, there's no element of truth in it. I know they sound really true, because when you start to tell yourself the stories long enough, they feel like truth, don't they? Like, I hear you. I've been there lots. Oh, this person thinks this about me. And oh, well, what they really mean is this. And oh, Tyson doesn't respect me and I'm his mother and he should. And blah, 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 blah. All this stuff. Gets me nowhere. Everybody loses. But if I instead, like my son, take a breath, step back, choose my response, I win. Everybody wins. I say win because you get that, but this is really not a contest. It's not like win-lose. It's like, how can I make it where everybody can get what they want in a situation? It's not going to always be the thing that goes down, but and so this morning as Tyson was having a couple meltdowns and stayed really calm and, yeah, you know what, buddy, you're totally right. I'm like, do I want to be right here? Or do I want to choose my response and send my son off to school in his first full day of grade 3? When there's a lot of changes and friends that have left and stuff, and change is hard for him, I'm going to choose my response today. And our babysitter showed up a couple minutes late, and I'm like, you know what? She called me and said, hey, Brenda, I'm so sorry. Looked for my keys. Like, I'm going to be there in 2 minutes. I'm like, no problem. I'll see you when you get here. We'll just be in the car ready to go, right? I could have chosen my response. Oh my God, we're going to be late today. We're going to be late today. I'm like, we'll get there when we get there. Same time, I'm like, buddy, you know what? We might be a little bit late today, but you know what? It's okay. We're not going to freak out about it, right? Choose your response. Because that is the only thing that you can really control. Is that. The only thing that you can ever control in your life is how you choose to respond, is the emotions that you choose in any given situation. Because, yeah, your emotions are a choice. That's what we're going to call this episode. Your emotions are a choice. Nobody makes you feel a certain way. You choose them. It's kind of like a deck of cards, right? To think if you had a deck of cards and you kind of like fan them out, you're like, what emotion am I going to choose? Now, is it often done in a logical way? No. We all will have times where we're like, rah, 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 and reactive and all this kind of stuff. It's all right. It's okay. This is not about perfection. This is about progress and you understanding that you are a human being who makes mistakes, and that's okay. And you learn from them and you move forward. But what emotion are you going to choose today? So here's your more tip then for today. I want you to start this day, or whatever time of the day that you are now listening to the podcast. I want you to start it or continue it intentionally. What am I going to choose? Actually, here's even something better. Here's what just came to me. I want you to write on a Post-it note or put this as like on your phone as wallpaper, right? What emotion will I choose today? What emotion will I choose today? To have this as an anchor for you going throughout your day and as a reminder that your emotions and your responses to everything in life are, yes, a choice. So, sister, just like it is your choice to also subscribe to the Win One to More newsletter, but I would highly recommend that you do so. because this is going to get you show notes and all of the resources and links that I talk about in the episodes delivered right to your inbox 5 days a week. I'm going to send you 2 incredible trainings of how to drop your stories, create ones, and remember who you are. And the More For Action Guide, which is really how to start your day in power, and a PDF sheet so you can really keep track of that and score that. So all you have to do is to do this right now. Head over to drkarenosburn.com. So it's spelled drkarenosburn.com/action guide. So drkarenosburn.com/action guide. Enter in your email. I'll get you hooked up on all that today. So I'll talk to you in the next episode, sister. A life of more. It's just one step away from, yes, you doing the fucking work, but also understanding that every day and every moment you get to choose your emotions every single day. I love and appreciate you.
To get the show notes of each Women Wanting More episode, including the How to Get More tip, subscribe to the newsletter at drkarenosburn.com/newsletter.